And we are live. Hello, homemakers and everyone in the chat or on the replay. On today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose, we are going to be talking with a twin mom. Not a mom who is a twin, but a mom who has twins. And she's going to give us just a little bit of insight into what it is like with life with two toddlers. But before we get into that, welcome to Homemaking with Purpose. I am Denise Jordan, your host, and I bring to you the best ideas, information, and interviews for today's homemaker. And this episode of Homemaking with Purpose is brought to you by Aprondiva, my online apron boutique. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. All right, let's get into it. When I spotted these two adorable little boys at a local home daycare, I knew I had to talk to their mom and dad, and I just knew you would love to see these adorable babies. Of course, there were some particular questions that I wanted to ask, but I also just wanted to hear about their parenting experience. After all, it's been quite a while since I've had any littles around here. Let me just say that watching the interaction between these two and their children was just a joy. It was simply just a joy to just watch the love that I could see just radiating from the mom, the dad, and the bond that they had with these two little ones. They reminded me so much of me and my husband at that particular point in our lives, just trying to figure things out and just trying to take responsibility for the decisions that we have made. It was like deja vu. Let's start by taking a look at how the homemaking journey began for Russell and Brooke. Roll the tape. So today I am with Brooke and Russell, and they're two adorable little twin boys, Atticus and Adonis. And don't ask me which is which because I cannot tell the difference. But they are identical twin boys and they are absolutely adorable. So one of the things we're going to do today is find out just a little bit about their homemaking journey and their challenges as the parents of twins. So I always like to start out with talking about the homemaking journey. So which usually includes, like, you know, if you're married, how long you've been married, how long you together, how'd you meet, that kind of thing. But I think what people are going to be most interested in is when you found out you were having twins. So,
yeah, that's a good one.
Careful.
Come here, honey.
Careful.
Can you go down your slide?
Chunker booty.
Can you go down your slide?
I think he bumped his chin a little bit.
Probably. He's alright.
Okay.
Okay, are you going to clean for me? Yeah, so we are not married. Not yet. We actually met in college.
Okay.
Russell and I were in an informatics?
Yeah, it was like a Microsoft Office class.
Very basic freshman level class. Russell is very much a person that sits in the front row, and Brooke is very much not. I'd much rather sit in the back, get in, get out, and be done. We actually didn't meet through, what was it, like a friend of a friend, almost? I worked with a friend of his at a coffee shop.
Okay.
They kind of introduced us, but we didn't start dating for quite some time. I wasn't interested for a while. I just didn't want it.
Okay.
Russell was pretty persistent, and then we started dating our sophomore year of college. Yeah, and that's been pretty much that ever since. And then when we were in college, our junior year, obviously COVID hit, and we were kicked out of school. No. So Russell stayed at his fraternity house for the time being. Yeah. And I actually moved here. And then throughout that time and everything, do you need help? Can you say you did it? Look. Throughout that time, I didn't know that I was pregnant at all. No signs, no symptoms, nothing. And then all of a sudden I started getting some pretty migraines. and didn't know what was going on. Went to a doctor, they just said, no, this is something changing, you know, as you get older, whatever. And then finally I started to get really sick, puking in the mornings and everything like that, so I took a test and it was positive all of a sudden. I went in to confirm at like just like a clinic, and they said, yeah, you're very early on. And I was like, oh, okay. So when they tell you you're very early on, the doctors say you have to wait, you know, an extended amount of time before you can come in and everything. So I had to wait a couple weeks. Obviously it was COVID, Russell could not go. So it was like first thing, early morning before work. And I walk in and they do their ultrasound and I was like, I don't know how far along I am. They said I'm pretty early. When I'm like laying there and the first thing she says is, wow, second set of twins today.
Oh, gee.
And I look at the screen thinking to see just like 2 blobs, and I saw entire heads and spines. And so they're like, yeah, you're about 16 weeks. Had no idea. Wasn't showing, hadn't hardly gained, I maybe gained a pound or 2, nothing crazy.
Okay.
So I called Russell on my way home, and it took a couple times because he was still asleep. And so I was like, I've got some news, you know. He's like, oh, you're not pregnant. And I was like, oh no, I am very much pregnant. And he goes, oh. I was like, it's twins. And he was like, oh. And I was like, 16 weeks along. And he's just sitting there with a very large grin on his face. He doesn't know, like, when you can tell gender of kids and anything. And then all of a sudden, I was like, it's 2 boys, because they confirmed it. And he was like, oh, yeah. Because Russell thought, I think, that he would only have girls because he wanted boys so bad. So from that point on, Russell went ahead and said, okay. So we were still in school at that time, getting ready to finish up for finals that year.
Yeah, we just finished up school in the spring.
Yeah.
And I
like
got
a week.
Yeah. And I got in contact with my advisor because we have half the amount of time to prepare for twice the amount of baby.
Right.
So contact my advisor and said, hey, I'm gonna be a dad. I gotta graduate school soon. What do I need to do? So I took 18 credit hours in the summer, and I took 15 in the fall. Finished in December. The boys were born in September.
I had graduated that May, so like a few weeks before we found out we were pregnant, I had actually just finished up my bachelor's. So yeah, it was pretty weird timing. Had no idea. I was in a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate at the time, and so we were like, well, this is not going to work. So we moved in here. It's a little townhome. It's not the greatest, but it works for us.
It'll work for you for right now. It's not your forever home. It's just your temporary home.
We are in the hunt for a home, and I think we found one that will work, so which is great. So we're very excited about that. I went to work on a Friday. I went in late because I wasn't feeling good. So I was like, okay, I'll just work half a day. I was on my way home and I started getting some really bad double vision, just not feeling good. And I came home and my left foot was the size of a bamboo. So I didn't want to go. I was like, I thought it was just dehydrated. I was 34 weeks at the time. So I called my doctor and they're like, well, first pregnancy, it's twins, pretty high risk, why don't you just come on in? So I did. Luckily my doctor was there already at the hospital. We loved him. We were at Lutheran, and he was like, well, Brooke, I can tell, look, actually you're preeclamptic. We're going to run a test. If it comes back, your kids are coming tonight. Russell was working some pretty odd hours at that time at Verizon. Never knew when he was going to be off. It was work like 10-hour days. It was chaotic. We had nothing ready at home. No bags were packed. Not a pack and play set up. Not a swing. Nothing. So I called Russell and I was like, hey, I'm going to go to the hospital. Nothing to freak out about just yet. So we're just going to get checked out. And then I called him a couple hours later and was like, hey, you might want to head home and get some stuff together. We're waiting on a test to come back, blah, blah, blah. 10 minutes later, the test comes back. And I was like, yeah, I got to get here. Well, he was finishing up a couple of things, and then we lived like 12 minutes from there. He got there about 5, ran right in, had no idea where he was going.
Just come running in the door.
I had 2 duffel bags full of stuff. I didn't know how long we were going to be there, so I packed as if we were going on a 2-week-long vacation. I had clothes and duffel bags.
And you said, keep an eye out for the man that comes in looking wild.
Yep. They were like, well, what does he, you know, what does he look like? Because they were like, we're ready to go. Like, boom, boom, boom. And I was like, you'll see him. You'll know. You'll probably hear him. And so Russell, I just remember seeing, I was in a lot of pain at that time. And I just remember seeing Russell with like 2 bags, a book bag, my very large, like, teeth pregnancy pillow around his neck, just running in some Timbs.
Some Timberlands and a cut-off shirt with some sweatpants.
And so the nurses are like, oh, that's him. And I said, oh, yeah. So they handed Russell scrubs, and they're like, all right, let's go. Right down to the operating room.
They told her to hop up off the table.
Yeah, I'm very, like, short in stature, and the table, you know, was, like, up here. So they're like, hop on up. And I'm like, that's not gonna happen.
I'm not hopping today.
They said that, like, hop on up. I said,
So Russell was waiting outside because he couldn't be in there yet. They were getting everything ready. And so I just hear the door opening, and Russell's like calling all of our family, like, hey, it's coming. And he's like super excited by the time I'm like laying there like terrified. And so we get in, and Russell comes in, the doctor comes in, and Russell looks at the doctor and says, you ready? And the doctor was like, yeah, I mean, you're gonna be the dad here. So cuts me open, and we were done within, they were born not even a minute apart.
Okay.
So they spent a little bit of time in the NICU. They were 6 weeks early, but we got very lucky. They spent about 6 days in.
How big were they?
Adonis was 4'8", and Atticus was 5'3".
Oh, so they weren't too small then. That's good.
We were very lucky.
Yeah, you guys were lucky. Now, one of the things that I was really curious about was their morning routine. How do they manage to get themselves and the babies out the door in a timely fashion? So, like, what is your day-to-day routine like? So, as a homemaker that works outside of the home, and both of you guys are working outside of the home, so what's your day-to-day routine like?
So this week is a little bit different, just because Kristen's on vacation this week. So, but normally, so like last week we would get up. I normally get up about 6. These boys, if we're lucky, sleep till about 7, 6:30, 6:45 or so. I get up early just to get myself ready, and I like to have time to myself in the morning if I'm lucky. Russell has to get up pretty early because he has to be at work by 7:30. So he's up and out of the house pretty quick. He'll be here to help get the boys out of bed and get some milk. Russell does a lot of the prep work at nighttime, so
makes it easier for the day.
Yeah,
it makes it easier.
So getting up in the morning, I have milk in cups in the fridge already to go. There's diapers set out. Normally we'll have clothes set out, easy to go. So we get up in the morning, I'll get ready. We'll bring the kids down, get them, you know, change their diaper. We get them some milk. Let them play for a little bit while I finish some things, get my lunch packed, which is what I like to do. Russell's normally out the door by then. The boys get dressed, pack them in the car, off to daycare.
So one of the things that I try to encourage my young homemakers to consider is prepping the night before, particularly if you work outside the home, prepping the night before. And you also to wake up before your family wakes up so you can take care of yourself and have a few blessed minutes of silence before the roar of the day.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've already learned that lesson, to get up before the boys and get yourself together so that when they're up, you're for them.
Ready to go.
And then Russell, you prep the night before. So tell me about what you do the night before.
I didn't.
Russell stays up a lot later than Brooke most of the time.
Yeah, so my time to myself is like at night. My time to myself is either at the gym or I'll play video games with some friends. But other than that, it's, but at night, it just, I don't remember what I started doing, and I'm just like.
Just randomly, I think.
I'm like, it would just be super easy if the milk and the diapers and whatnot were out. So
he likes to clear off this rug too, which is where we get them dressed, which is awesome.
I'll go and clean out bottles and make sure that there's clean bottles and put milk in them, throw them in the fridge, so when she opens up the fridge, there's bottles to grab. Diapers go right on the couch next to the wipes, which is next to the TV remote, just in case the boys need to watch a TV show or a movie in the morning. If we have clothes that we want them to be in, or if it just depends on what they're wearing, then they're right there.
No, not on the couch.
What else? I put stuff up that they could get to, because if you wake up in the morning and there's stuff out, they're gonna grab it because they're kids.
Immediately, yeah.
So I just try to make sure that all the things that you need in the morning are done, because I'm usually out quicker than she is, or we're out at the same time or whatever. So I just want to make sure that whatever needs done in the morning is there, and she doesn't have to do it, because kids waking up in the morning crying, they're already hungry, they need changed. So if it's set up and ready to go, it's easy.
And so it's nice that it sounds like the two of you kind of work together and you figured out like what needs to happen when, and you sort that out together. So
it's taken some time to kind of find a groove of what, kind of what works for us.
I've often emphasized how important it is for you to get up 30 to 60 minutes prior to your family so that you can get yourself ready, so that you can put yourself through your morning routine before you get your family up to put them through their morning routine. It just gives you a few minutes of peace and calm before the busyness of the day. And then once you've got yourself together, you've taken care of your needs, then you can get your family up and take care of their needs. So now that we've looked at their morning routine, what is their nighttime routine like?
The first 6 months of their life was just kind of survival. And how do we keep them, you know, happy and healthy, and also keep ourselves alive and get some sleep.
And get a shower occasionally.
So they've been awful sleepers their entire life as well. So that was a very big challenge for us. They just started to sleep through the night probably like 3 months ago. Consistently sleep through the night. We did everything we could. We tried every sleep sack there is.
Oh, they hated being swaddled.
Yeah, when they first came home.
Everyone's like, oh, you want your babies to sleep? Just swaddle them up. They would fight and be so upset and just wanted to be out and free.
So what time do you put them down for the night?
Their bedtime is about 7:30. Between 7 and 7:30 they are up in bed. So thankfully now, it's taken a long time. We've got them to the point that, they have a very strict routine. We've done it ever since they were born, is they get a bath, they eat dinner, they get a bath, they come down, we get dressed, we play, they get milk, we go on upstairs, they lay in bed, drink their milk, and they go to sleep.
So you like read them a story, you play music, just kind of sit there?
So we like to play. They love to play with their toys before bed, especially now going to daycare. They come home and realize, oh my gosh, there's new toys here at home that we forgot about. So we do that a lot. And then we'll try to read stories every couple of nights, at least throughout the week. They love to play peekaboo in their beds with their blankets.
Oh yeah, they're peekaboo age.
And then we turn on their little sound machine.
What Brooke's not saying is she spent a lot of time individually, especially while she was home, sleep training them. And was reading books and watching videos and talking to moms and other parents on how you sleep train babies. And she did a lot of, hey, we need to do naps this way, and it got to a point where it's like, okay, we're starting to get better if we don't need rocked to sleep. Now we're going to do sleepy,
which was
not
a big improvement, not being rocked to sleep.
Then we got to a point where we're setting them down sleepy, not asleep, and now it's to the point where we set them down, and some nights when they have like a tough night or something, especially recently with their teeth, but the past couple of months they'll lay down upstairs, get their milk, we'll play peekaboo for a little bit before we bed, smooch on the head, walk out, turn off the light, and they put themselves to sleep. The past couple of nights have been different because their teeth hurt, but Brooke did a really good job
that's good.
Sleep training. She's been awesome at it. And she's the reason that they sleep as well as they do, but she won't tell you that.
So what's your daily routine like then? So you get home about 5 o'clock, 5:30, and then what?
So I work downtown, so I get off between about 4:45 and 5. And then now, thankfully, we used to only have one set of car seats for one car. So it was just Brooke going and picking them up and dropping them off. But now we have 2, which is a huge improvement.
Yes.
So if Russell gets off early on a whim, he'll go and grab the kids. But otherwise, it's more on my way home. So I go grab them, come home. We get home. I like to get them some water. They're always thirsty. They're always playing at daycare. And then they play for a little. We start some dinner. Some nights it's like Brooke has had it planned out the whole week and it's great, and some nights it's literally tonight we had waffles with some fruit and not fruit because they hate fruit, so fruit bars.
I do hate
And
so weird.
some veggies.
So one of the things that I do encourage my young homemakers who work outside of the home to do is to have a nighttime routine that they follow. And that nighttime routine includes not only their shower or bath, but their children's showers or baths. Lay those clothes out the night before, prepare any book bags, sign any permission slips, get backpacks ready, lunches ready, get all that done the night before, have the book bags sitting by the door, the lunches ready to just grab out of the fridge, and it just cuts down on the chaos of the morning. And as we can see, Brooke and Russell have figured that out for their family. For those of you just joining in, we're talking to Brooke and Russell, parents of two adorable 18-month-old twins. And if your thing is red, white, and blue, then be sure to check out tonight's featured apron, which is the Connie. It will keep you clean and mess-free while you are cooking, cleaning, crafting, or gardening. Check us out at www.aprondiva.com. So now let's talk about what are your challenges now today as a mom of two toddlers. They're what, 18 months?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your challenges today with twin boys?
I don't know. I would say a lot of it is time. Now, I stayed at home for a year with them.
Okay.
When they turned 1, I started a job literally that week, next week.
Okay.
And so it was a lot of figuring out, you know, I went from having all day to spend with them and play with them and do different things to a couple hours before bedtime and that's it. And so that was kind of a struggle for me. They were also born in a pandemic, so it was a very hard challenge kind of navigating the world that we're in and what we do. Do we send our kids to a daycare? Do we keep them home? Do we, you know, let them socialize with other kids? You know, what's the safe thing to do here? And we don't know.
Pandemic babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I went back to work, we did find Christian. It was recommended by us from a friend of ours, actually, that used to have a little girl that went there. And so we started them off like part-time, which was great because I still had 2 days at home with them. Thank you. Can you put it on the floor, please? And then now they're back in full-time. So are you going to jump?
Turn around.
Jump.
I know what you want.
Jump. One of the biggest things I think right now is like the society kind of that we live in. There's a lot of like, this is what your kids should be doing. This is what they should be learning. This is what they should know. And so a lot of times, you know, going to the doctor can be a little bit discouraging because they are literally in the 3rd percentile for height and weight. they're little guys. And so they're like, oh, they're not really up there.
Oh, they're little? Okay.
I also personally, like whenever, I take it with a grain of salt whenever we go to the doctor because the doctor's gonna have measurements on age and this is the norm and this is how it should be. These guys are 6 weeks premature. They're 6 weeks premature and they're in the percentile. They're on the growth chart.
You go get your car.
Well, exactly.
They're fantastic. I'm proud of them. They're doing good. They're fine.
Absolutely.
They're happy.
And they're
That's the
actually
big thing.
6 weeks early. So they're 6 weeks younger than what, like, and those range, those dates and milestones they give you are a range. It's just a range, something that.
And sometimes it can just be like discouraging because they're like, oh, well, they're not doing, you know, this quite yet, and it's okay. So what am I doing? Almost kind of like what are we doing wrong as parents, kind of thing. You know, we're 23 years old. We hardly know what we're doing in society as it is, and raising kids has been a huge learning curve for,
Trust me,
not just as like parents, but like as individuals for ourselves, I think. And so sometimes those like standards kind of are like a little bit discouraging, which make it pretty hard. Like the last thing that we got was that they don't talk enough. They aren't saying enough words. And literally a week later, Adonis has started to say like 6 different words.
Well, you know, funny thing, when I went over to Christian's and I saw them and I said hi, and he said hi, and Lavina said, I haven't heard him speak to anybody before. But he spoke to me. So
it is very like surprising. I will say, since going to daycare, these boys have become so much more like advanced, I think.
Just being with other kids. So.
Yeah.
Being with other kids at different ages too.
Which is cool. cool to see. Like, we had no idea. They love this Cocomelon show, which they watch sometimes, and it's a lot of songs. They love music. Love music. We had no idea Atticus knew all of the sounds, like hand motions and everything to Wheels on the Bus. It literally, we played it one day, and he's just standing on the slide, just doing them all. And we were like, wow, we had no idea he could do that, which is super cool. So
now let me just back up for a second. So you said one of your challenges is that, first of all, you're still figuring things out for yourself.
Absolutely.
At 23, so I get that. And you know, you guys are young homemakers, so there's no instruction guide that comes with kids. Those are probably the only thing you can get in your life that no instruction manual comes with them. You got to figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
So do you have family close by that you can have lead on for support?
So his mom lives about 2.5 hours away, and my parents both live about 2.5 hours away.
Okay.
So my parents though do come up quite a bit. They love to come. My mom came for about she took 2 weeks off when the boys were born to, hey, come here and stay with us.
My mom did too.
It was the best thing. We had them home the first night by ourselves, and Russell and I both looked at each other at probably 4 a.m. and said, oh, we need some help. So we are very thankful that we have family that are willing to come to us. It's hard to travel with kids now, much easier. When they were little though,
They're a lot in the car now.
they hated cars. We would leave at bedtime. We would leave at 8 o'clock at night to go somewhere, you know, and so I've asked my mom a lot of questions, like I don't know what to do in this situation.
You trying to get the rape to stand?
We have FaceTime now, which is great. So like I could call my mom and see her face to face, and she can see the kids, which is awesome. So I rely on her quite a bit. My sister a lot. My sister's 10 years older than I am, so she has 3 kids. So I asked her some things about when her kids were small and what to do. We asked his mom about some things like related to like genetically. You know, so we thought some things were going on, but yeah.
Okay. For those of you who regularly follow me and you hear me do these interviews, you know there is one question that I always like to ask. And if you know what that question is going to be, drop it in the comment section. I'll wait. Okay, so those of you who know me know that I'm going to ask, what are your laundry challenges? Because you guys know I love laundry. Let's listen as Brooke shares her laundry dilemmas. Laundry is definitely the never-ending story. And I will say laundry is one of my favorite things. So what are your laundry challenges, other than the fact that there's a lot of it? What's your biggest challenge?
One of the biggest things I think is like a lot of food stains from them. They're very messy eaters, and they have recently learned to kind of just wipe their hands on their clothes.
That's a boy thing.
Yeah.
It really is.
I still do it.
Yeah.
And then kind of like some of our clothes like to latch on to any kind of lint that we have, even though we just got a brand new washer and dryer because our other one broke. And I would say, I don't know what else. I think that's about it.
I think one of the big things is with so much laundry and there being a lot of loads of it, it's a lot of up and down.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of
laundry
it's
down
in the
here.
closet over here.
There's also just not a lot of space for like storing things. So
especially not here.
If we have one hamper, it's full in there. That's your like walkway because you have to have stuff to like put your laundry detergent and whatnot on, and there's like a little corner, but there's some like the vacuum and broom and mop going.
Yeah.
So
how often do you do laundry?
We try to do at least a load a day. I didn't do any yesterday. I haven't done any today.
Well, give yourself grace.
Yeah, for sure. So most of our laundry is done on the weekends.
Okay.
Or like I try to do a lot of it Thursday nights, so that way we don't have to do as much of it on the weekends. The biggest part for me is once it's done is getting it all folded and getting it all put away. Russell helps with folding a lot when he's playing video games because he gets breaks, so he'll do that with me a lot. Or when we're watching basketball together a lot of the time.
if I come home during lunch, I'll switch a load.
Yeah, thankfully.
One of the things that I really try to encourage my young homemakers is to do a load every day.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's one load a day keeps
That's
Mount
the goal.
Washmore away. And you know, if you could throw a load in before you go to work, when you, not that you're not busy in the morning, but that private time that you have on your own, if you could throw a load in before you go to work, and then when they go down for the night, get it, well, throw it in the dryer.
Sure.
When you get ready to give dinner, and then before you put them, after you put them down for the night, just fold it up and put it away.
Yeah.
Kind of try a habit like that. Now, it takes a while to get that form.
Yeah.
But it can really make a difference. And then stains. Do you do pre-treating and all that kind of thing?
I try to. Yeah. The biggest thing that I use is a lot of Dawn Power Wash. The spray, which is really nice to use. I use it on a lot of their clothes for food stains. And then sometimes at the gym, there's like, what is that stuff on the bar that sometimes gets on your clothes?
Chalk?
No, it's like black, like almost like a, I don't even know what kind of material it is. So like,
like the adhesive stuff?
Yeah. So sometimes the adhesive stuff on like a bar at the gym or something will get onto Russell's white clothes. So I use the Dawn on that a lot.
Is that helpful?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. The black stuff, not all the time.
As the Fly Lady says, washing one load a day keeps Mount Washmore away. So I definitely encourage all of my homemakers, particularly my homemakers with littles, to do one small load of laundry every day. And keep in mind that the laundry is not done until it's been washed, dried, folded, and put away. Now, one of the questions that I was really curious about was how well they ate. I hear so many young moms today talk about their children being picky eaters. So I wanted to know, what were the twins' eating habits like? So tell me about their eating habits.
They do pretty good. The only thing that they truly do not like to eat and will refuse actively to eat is fruit.
That's interesting because fruit is sweet.
They hate sweet. They just don't like sweet. They don't
We
eat
tried
cold
to give
sweets.
them, they had 2 individual smash cakes on their birthday. One nothing to do with
They
it.
both cried. We tried to put their hands in it and they
They licked it like once and
were
were done.
Now the smash cake was made of what?
Just,
it was like whipped
cake.
cream cake.
Yeah.
And that was
the
it.
topping was almost like a Cool Whip instead of like a icing.
Well, you know, sometimes when they're little like this, it's the texture or the taste until their palate hasn't developed real well yet. So just keep trying them, like with the fruit, just keep offering it to them. And
We just recently moved on to yogurt, which was a huge improvement.
Oh, they probably like that.
Apples now.
He will sometimes, but sometimes I tried to give him one the other day and he says, no.
I don't like the sounds going on in there.
No. He's
He's right
rearranging
there.
his table. I bet he's trying to bring it in here.
Wait, he's putting it away. It's over by the mini.
Okay.
He's like putting it away.
Other than that, they eat pretty well. They will eat just about anything I try to make for us. Sometimes it's a challenge just to cook a whole dinner before they go to bed though. So sometimes I will have something like prepped for them and then we eat something different. But most nights I do try to have something that we just all eat because it's less work and less dishes and everything else. But we've kept them on a pretty strict schedule since they were 6 months old. I mean, the only times we left the house were during wake windows. The only times we did anything, wake windows. If it was an hour before nap time, we were heading home. We did nothing but do anything around that schedule. I'm sure Russell probably hated it at some times because I probably was too mean about it most times because I was like, I don't want this getting messed up.
Now, what were the windows you said?
So what they call them now is called wake windows.
Oh, wake windows. Okay.
So like whatever age they are. So right now they're 18 months. So their wake window, so the time that whenever they wake up to take a nap is about 4 hours, 4.5 hours, something like that. And so when they are like 3 months old, you have like a 2-hour wake window. So you get them up, you get them fed, you get them playing. Then once that like hour-and-a-half mark hits, you get them changed and ready for a nap. And then it's time for a nap. So we followed that pretty strictly for quite some time, and we still do. But now they're down to 1 nap, so it's a little bit easier to manage.
1 nap. Yeah, they're probably 1 nap.
So-
But I'll be a long one still.
Yeah. Yes, so now they nap from about midday. If we're lucky here at home, they're not good at daycare though. I have heard they're not good nappers at daycare, but
they have fear of missing out. They have FOMO so bad.
They want to just constantly play with other kids. They want to play with anything they can. But here at home, normally they'll sleep for a good 2 hours. Yeah. 2.5. We sometimes get lucky with Adonis because he likes to sleep, but he'll get 3 hours. So. Which
sometimes
is great.
they're sleepy. Sometimes they're sleepy. You only get like a 3-hour nap out of Adonis if he wakes up earlier than he's used to. If he wakes up at like 6 or he's up at like 5. Yeah, sometimes if he sleeps in like that, he'll take like an hour and a half nap maybe. But if he wakes up at like 6 or 5:30, then he's good for an hour.
And when is mommy time?
Normally when they go to bed. On weekends. On weekends we've been gone
We've
lot
been gone
the past few weekends, either visiting family or Russell and I actually took a weekend last weekend to go away, and we went to Chicago for the weekend together, which was a lot of fun. And kids stay with my parents. Yeah,
they just stayed here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They had a lot of fun at Nana and Papa's. So
they love going over to see Nana and Papa.
Yeah, my mom is.
So, according to Brooke, for the most part, she tries to make things that they can all eat together, but depending upon the time of day that she gets home, sometimes she might make something for the boys, and then she might have something different that she and Russell may have later. And as I said earlier, as a lover of the Fly Lady cleaning method, my home keeping is governed by a series of routines, particularly the after breakfast routine, the after lunch routine, and the after dinner routine. And I thought it was so interesting that Brooke has figured this out. She doesn't talk about the Fly Lady cleaning method, but she applies some of those same concepts in her day-to-day activities. Let's listen.
I used to leave everything to the night because I was like, you know what, I don't want to do anything during the day because I do everything for them during the day. And so I just let everything pile up until the end of the day. Well, then I realized I was taking 3 hours to clean my house every night. So instead like when I would stay at home during breakfast, we would do a load of dishes. Normally I would try to unload it. Yep, and then because I would try to have it washed overnight. So then in the morning I'd get up, make them breakfast, and unload dishes
we're gonna go take a bath.
And then at lunchtime, it's load the dishes, load up whatever you did from lunch and run it again. And then the same thing at dinner. So now that I'm working though, it's a little bit harder. So I still try to, like tonight when I was cooking them dinner, I just put dishes in. And thankfully the woman who was watching our kids this week here unloaded our dishwasher today, which she didn't have to do, but I know. So I loaded the dishwasher while they were eating some dinner, and then I will finish loading it tonight and let it run overnight. Can you go take a bath with Dad? Go upstairs so you can go take a bath. Go ahead. Thank you.
Just get yourself right.
Yeah.
Your house is not going to be perfectly, positively clean while you've got 2 little ones this age, so don't even try.
And that's probably one of the hardest things I've had to learn is just because, just like personally, like on my own, it's just like that's what I did. I kept my house pretty tidy. I like to have a clean room, and just have things done. It makes my life easier, and it just makes me feel like less overwhelmed and everything else. And I realized about 3 months into having kids that it's like, it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't necessarily work that way.
No, and so it took a long time for us to truly find a way and a routine that would kind of work for our family and what would work for our dynamic to what would be more successful for our household. These boys are very crazy and very high energy and very ready to go at all times of the day. And so I don't want to miss that.
Exactly.
I don't want to miss that. And so for the longest time I kind of told myself like once I get my things done then I can spend time with my kids, and it's like no, I don't have to do that.
No, you don't.
So we spend So we spend on weekends we spend all morning playing, or we will watch. They love movies. These kids, I probably could take them to a movie theater and they would watch movies and sit there. And now that it's getting nicer outside, we try to kind of go to some parks, which is I took them by myself because Russell was away one weekend. I don't know that I will ever do that again until they're a little bit older because I think I was out of breath more than they were just running around. But It was a lot of fun. And so I just, from starting full-time back at work, you kind of realize like how much time you don't get with them during the day compared to what I did have staying home.
Right.
I loved staying home, but at the same time, for myself, I just couldn't do it. I give props to those moms who stay home with their kids all day long, at all times of the day. I just felt like I just couldn't do it.
And that is absolutely fine. Everyone's homemaking journey is different, and everyone's mothering journey is different too. So if you need that time to be out to work and help with your family, then do that. Right. And certainly they're getting good care where they are. Absolutely. So that's not something that you have to worry about. And not at all. They're doing great. Okay, so we covered dishes, laundry, homemaking, mommy time. I think that's it. Now, one question that a viewer wanted to know, because she knew that I was going to have Brooke and Russell on, was what do they do for self-care? Like, when do they get some me time? So for Brooke, that tends to be early in the morning when the kids are still asleep and all is quiet. And then for Russell, that tends to be in the evening after everyone's gone to bed and all is quiet, or he gets some me time at the gym. I did ask Brooke if she had any advice for new moms. Here's what she had to say about that. Is there anything else you want to add to all those young moms out there that maybe are just having twins, or they're having a single birth, but it's their first baby? What would you like to say to them?
You don't need all the things, you know, that they put on Pinterest or Instagram or anything else that they tell you. They're nice to have sometimes. Sometimes they kind of get in your way. Okay. It's really easy to stick to the basics with kids, especially if you have twins. You don't need two of everything. We learned that the hard way. And to just kind of take it day by day. I know it sounds cliche, and everybody will tell you that. But, you know, from the time that if you are stay at home or just on leave or anything like that, you know, the hours are just sometimes dragging on. And the days kind of drag on. But at the end of the week, you look back and you realize, wow, that week is over. My kids are a week older and they have grown so much. So it's easy to get caught up in that. It took me a long time to kind of learn that I need to reflect on each day instead of not realize that weeks have gone by without me realizing what my kids have done and how they've grown.
Right, right.
So I think
and they're only little for a little while.
Yeah. These kids have grown very fast and they've learned a lot very quickly. And I do appreciate being able to be home for that first year and getting those certain things under my belt and learning, you know, what works for our kids, because some parents just don't get that. Some kids, you know, have to go back after 3 months and your baby is still very freshly new and you don't know everything that works still and you're trying to balance a lot of things. So I am very thankful for that time that I had home, but you know, the chaos will always be there, that at some point you will learn to manage that chaos and it will become fun again.
And I like that response, to take what you read in here with a grain of salt. Keep it in mind that those guidelines are a range and not an absolute, and you really want to get to know your baby, your babies. For those of you who have joined us late, we are talking to Russell and Brooke, the parents of two adorable little boys that are 18 months old. And if red, white, and blue is your thing, then the featured apron for the week is perfect for you. We call it the Connie, and it will keep you clean and mess-free while you're cooking, cleaning, crafting, or gardening. Be sure to visit us at www.aprondiva.com. So let's take a look at today's apron note. And today's apron note is this one. And it says, a cozy home is not always Pinterest perfect. And that is a sentiment that we can certainly take to heart. And this family's home was a modest townhouse, and the living room was scattered with the accoutrements of children. Kitchen appliances and jumpy things and slides and little mops and all the little things that make up a child's life. Was it Pinterest perfect? No. Was it warm and cozy? Yes. Was it filled with love? Absolutely. You could just feel the love in the home, radiating between the parents and the children. It was just a joy to watch. These two young people have made the perfect home for their little family for this point in their lives. It's not their forever home. They're making plans to one day purchase the home that they want, that has the space, the yard, and just all the things that they want for their family. But right now, their home provides the love, the nurturing, and the guidance that children need to thrive, and thriving they are. Now it's time for a happy mail. And last week I forgot to bring these two letters up to share with you guys, but I got a letter from Dawn Thomas last week, as well as a letter from Patience Bolden. So I wanted to show you guys those two. And I'm also in a pen pal program with the Daily Connoisseur, and I've got two pen pals, and I received a letter from one of my pen pals as well. So I love, love, love to get letters from my viewers. So if you guys feel inclined to drop me a line, please do. Now let me remind you guys that Homemaking with Purpose is moving to Wednesday starting July 21st. This week, we're at our regularly scheduled time, and next week we're going to have Mary from Mary's Nest on. So that'll be July 14th, 7:45 Thursdays, Eastern Daylight Savings Time. But starting July 21st, we'll be moving Homemaking with Purpose to Wednesday night, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I will send you guys out a reminder on the community tab, and I will try to put the notices up early enough so that you can click the reminder so that you'll be informed when those shows are coming up. And if you missed the last two shows that I did where I talked about lessons learned from Fly Lady Cat, the last one in where I talked about reaction versus response was amazing. So if you missed that, be sure and check it out. And then the one before that, again, lessons learned from Fly Lady Cat. I've learned quite a bit, and I share quite a bit of that from time to time. I even sprinkled a little bit of that in with today's show as well. All right, ladies and gents, what's your aha moment? Which of the tips that Brooke and Russell utilized to manage their home resonated with you? Tell me in the comments section. And be sure to check out my latest videos, the one where I showed you how to freeze sweet corn, and then the other one where I showed you where I decluttered in my kitchen pantry. I've just got way too much stuff, and I'm just trying to part with some of it. For more homemaking inspiration, click the link on the screen, and I will see you next time.